This was the first Paul Thomas Anderson movie I've ever seen, and let me just say, after this movie, I want to see more. There Will Be Blood is a movie I don't feel like I really need to talk about the plot of too much because it's really character driven. There's really not much plot going on here. But what it basically is, Daniel Day-Lewis plays this guy called Daniel Plainview, and he's an oil man, and he's trying to dig oil in this one town. He's trying to buy land and collect it so he could drill it all the way to a coastline, and that's really it, to be honest. Now, going into this movie, all I really knew was Daniel Day-Lewis was in it, and it was about oil, and that's it. And coming out of this movie, it's amazing. Let's just start out with Daniel Day-Lewis. In this movie, I feel like he gives one of the best performances ever in a movie. He gets so into these roles that he picks, and it's just amazing to watch him do all this stuff on screen. He makes his characters feel like real people, not like he's playing a character. He changes his voice so well and makes it seem realistic, all the mannerisms he has and just reactions to things. It's just amazing to watch. Paul Dano is also in this movie, and he actually plays twins in this movie, which is something that threw me off at first. I didn't really understand. I was like, wait, is he there and what's going on? And I kind of figured it out after a while. He's also great in this movie. His character was a preacher, and honestly, I didn't like his character, mostly because he was a preacher, but he did a great job as acting-wise in this movie. Ciarán Hinds is also in there as Daniel Day-Lewis's right-hand man, and I thought it was really interesting to see Ciarán Hinds with an American accent and not a really thick, you know, other accent. Wow, that sounds completely terrible. Because, you know, usually Ciarán Hinds has some sort of thick accent going on. Here he actually has an American accent. I just thought that was interesting, and he was great as well. All the other acting, I don't really remember every single person in the movie, but all the acting in this movie across the board was fantastic. Now, I'm gonna give Paul Thomas Anderson props as a director, because the way he directs this movie is so interesting. That's one of the main reasons I love this movie, was the direction, how he films certain shots. I don't know if he did the cinematography in this movie, but whoever did, the cinematography in this movie is immaculate. It's just so beautiful, especially when they're out in the desert doing this oil production type stuff. It's amazing to watch. The shots in this movie really make it more interesting than it probably should be. Another thing I thought this movie did really well was showing how brutal things were with this oil production, because accidents would happen in this movie, and when it would happen, sometimes people would die, and it was really brutal. It was just kind of out of nowhere, and it kind of left me in a state of shock when it happened. And it's not like it showed a ton of gore or anything like that. It was just, it was sudden, and it made sense, it was realistic, and I just thought that really added to the movie. And this movie is definitely a character study, in my opinion, of Daniel Day-Lewis's character, and it just shows how he starts becoming a worse and worse person over time. Because, yeah, you have that story about the oil and the industry and stuff like that, but that doesn't really play into the movie too much. It's mostly about Daniel Day-Lewis's character. And to watch this character just get worse and worse as the movie goes on, I thought was amazing. It was kind of almost not at all like Breaking Bad. And the parallel I make with that is the fact that Walter White at this point in the show is a terrible person, but you watch the show because of how interesting of a character he is. That's how I felt watching this movie. Daniel Plainview as a character, he's a terrible person by all means, but it's such an interesting character to watch on screen because of how I don't want to say cool, because I don't consider him to be cool. I was enthralled watching his character development in this movie. The acting in this movie is phenomenal, the cinematography is great, the story, not really story, but character development is awesome to watch on screen. But the one problem I have with this movie, and I don't know if people have problems with this, but the music in this movie pissed me off at times, because I didn't feel like it fit, because like the movie opens up, you just have this quiet shot of just a desert, and you just start hearing like this really loud horror movie type music, and I just didn't feel like it fit. And that music would just come in at random times in the movie. Maybe it's not random, maybe I'm just missing something here, but it annoyed me at times because it would be on and people would be talking and I wouldn't be able to hear what they were saying, and it just got on my nerves. That was my only problem in this movie. I thought the rest of it was great, and it's 2.5 hours, a little bit over that, and it doesn't feel like that at all. I didn't feel like I was watching a long movie, and that's always great to see. There Will Be Blood overall is a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And I'm gonna give it an A. So what do you guys think of There Will Be Blood? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? What do you think is Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie? If you think this is his best movie, what do you recommend I watch of his next? Write your beautiful comments down there and tell me what you think. And if you like this video, hit that subscribe button down there. Because if you don't, I'll dig for oil in your backyard and then you'll have things fall on me and I'll die.